Hey everybody, how's it going? This is TUSDarryl and welcome to my review of Onimusha Warlords. Let's kick this thing off by going right into the story. In Onimusha Warlords, you play as a samurai named Samanosuke, as well as his kunoichi companion, Kaede, as Nobunaga returns from the dead with the aid of demons in an effort to overthrow the world. It's up to you and the Ogre Gauntlet, a relic created to defeat and absorb the souls of fallen demons, to stop Nobunaga and his demonic army and save Princess Yuki before it's too late. Moving on to the graphics. So here's the thing, the version of Onimusha Warlords that I played is not the original PlayStation 2 version. This is a remaster in every sense of the word. Due to this, graphically speaking, it looks very meh. Now it's not downright ugly since the environments and creatures and all look really good, actually. However, the same can't be said for Samanosuke and the others, CG scenes aside. There's various clipping geometry and the like going on between Samanosuke's hand and the Ogre Gauntlet. And there are various stretch textures that appear occasionally when a character is knocked down or in a kind of position, any kind of position, that just doesn't look natural, like if they're turning their neck or turning their head around and looking in a direction, you can see like sometimes the textures would just stretch along the neck a little bit. And to take this even further, the lip syncing in the game is very inconsistent, ranging from decent to you just said a full sentence with your mouth closed. Color me impressed. That said, overall the game doesn't look that bad, and some of the issues I mentioned can be excused as it's a remaster and not a full-on remake. That said, a little more cleanup would have been nice. Now let's talk sound.
Can you be Samanosuke Akechi? Yes, you are! I cannot believe you are here of all places. I am a servant of the Oda clan.
Samanosuke, is there something you wanted to ask this young man?
Do not be afraid.
No! You want to hurt me like that other samurai did.
Now I'm a little biased since I've played the Onimusha spin-off game, Onimusha Blade Warriors, years, and I mean years ago I was a kid. But putting that aside, judging from the sounds themselves, the clinking and grinding of blades is crisp. And somehow the cartoonish slicing and dicing sound effects you get from slicing an enemy or cutting into them is very satisfying and kind of crunchy. The game has a very distinct sound, so if you were walking in a store or something, I would think that you'd be able to pick it up just from whatever you're hearing off of a TV screen without having to look at it. The game also doesn't overwhelm you too much with everything going on, and oftentimes you'll be in dead silent environments. The music can get kind of loud here and there, but that might just be because you're in dead silence for so long at times that the music just seems louder than it actually is. It's not that big of a deal, but I just figured it'd be worth mentioning. Another thing that might be off-putting to some of you is the voice acting. It's not exactly stiff. In fact, it's in the calmer moments when the voice acting is actually pretty okay. But when tensions rise and the characters start yelling or saying stuff like, "I won't let you do this," or "We need to get out of here," you can hear that old video game voice acting charm. It makes scenes where I feel like I should be taking things seriously sound hilarious, and I'm struggling to figure out whether or not that's a good thing. I'll sum it up like this. The voice acting is okay at best and hilarious at worst. At the very least, it didn't make me want to slam my head in a car door. So I'll count that as a win overall. Gameplay time. If you gave Jill or Chris a sword and different elemental abilities to accompany it, and if you got rid of the tank controls from Resident Evil 1 entirely, that's essentially how Onimusha Warlords plays. It's a hack and slash and a pretty fun one at that. Initially the combat feels very repetitive, with only one simple combo that you could pull off, along with the ability to counter enemies or stab them while they're on the ground to finish them off. Thankfully, as you progress, you gain new abilities and special moves to spice up combat, and new enemy types appear as well. There are some puzzles here and there as well, ranging from opening locked chests to figuring out how to open a door without having the hammer come down on your head. In other words, if you played any old school Resident Evil, then you know what puzzles I'm referring to. If you haven't played any old school Resident Evil game, then simply put, the puzzles vary from combination puzzles to grab item A and bring it to location G to unlock location C to finally get item B. You will also have moments in the game when you won't be playing as Samanosuke, but instead you'll be playing as his friend and comrade, Kaede. Kaede's gameplay is similar to Samanosuke's but ultimately different, as she doesn't have access to the Ogre Gauntlet or any of the magical abilities he has. But she can unlock doors that he can't. Her gameplay sections are still just as fun, as her agility and kunai also make the gameplay very enjoyable. In one way, refreshing compared to Samanosuke's style. Ultimately, gameplay is a lot of fun, and due to the game's short length, it doesn't overstay its welcome. As for bugs, this may have just been me, but towards the last hour of the game, I've had an issue where the background music would randomly cut out for a second or two. It's not a huge deal, but definitely worth mentioning here. That said, it's not going to hurt the overall score I give the game. Speaking of which, Onimusha Warlords is a go for it. It's a really fun hack and slash and adventure game that knows how to keep things short and sweet when needed and doesn't take too long to complete. Combine that with the fact that you can play as 2 characters rather than just one the whole time, and you've got a fun time that will rarely get boring. With that said, if you are turned off by anything I mentioned earlier in regards to its dated graphics, despite the minor facelift, or if you're put off by the awkward voice acting here and there, then maybe you should wait for a sale if you don't want to drop $20 on it. I'd still recommend this game if it is your cup of tea though. Onimusha Warlords is available on Steam, the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One. And with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed your stay, and I'll see you next time.